everybody? I want to welcome y'all to the premiere of the TuVues podcast. I'm Keith Davis.
And I'm Kevin Davis, aka Evil Twin, aka Kev G. Call me what you want. That's what I am.
And that boy just went all in, man. We just wanted to thank y'all for joining us today for this premiere. And we just want to tell y'all a little bit about what this podcast is about. This is a podcast that focuses on giving insight to men on a variety of topics such as relationships, fatherhood, mental health, and more. Our goal is to encourage our brothers to become the best versions of themselves they can be and to overcome obstacles, roadblocks, stereotypes, and self-sabotage. This is about honoring who we are as kings, leaders, fathers, and mentors while guiding the next generation away from common pitfalls. Let's go.
Yes, sir. No topic untouchable. We're gonna talk about all things
Right.
that's directly affect us as individual, as men, and as a community. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah, let's talk about how we came up with this concept, man. It's just I know being two boys from South Side of Peoria, Illinois, we've been through a lot, man. Been through a lot of common
Yeah, yeah.
pitfalls, a lot of common obstacles, and we thought we want to have that opportunity to give back to our brothers of some things that we've been through, some things that we've experienced that others have experienced, so that we can help make sure that some of our people that we're connected to and people that are not connected to us will have a roadmap on where to go in life.
Yeah, and don't get it twisted. It's called TuVues, right? So even though we're twins, we look like and all that stuff. We were raised together. We cut from the same cloth. We still got different views about things. You might hear us talk about things where it's similar. We might agree on things, but you might hear a lot of things where we don't agree. There might be some agreed to disagreements in some of these topics of discussion, but it's not nothing wrong with having two views, right? It's nothing wrong with having your own thoughts
Facts.
about a situation. All
Facts.
right, it's agree and disagree and still loving each other. So that's what it's all about.
For instance, man, like here go one piece where you think we twins we agree a lot, but man, the movie Dunkirk, man. If you ask me, man, to me Dunkirk is one of the greatest movies. Man, I thought it was a very interesting historical movie. To show connected some stuff from World
Bro,
War II. But if you ask Evil Twin over here, man, he gave it like a five out of
bro,
10.
this is coming from a dude who majored in history, right? Come on, man. Like I love history. I love military movies, right? But
Uh,
Dunkirk is not a good movie, man. It's one of those movies where you got to be a history buff to watch. You guys sit there and ain't no talking. It ain't
nah,
nothing but
man,
shooting,
it's
bro.
a great movie, man.
Okay,
It's a great
okay.
movie, bro. It's
Well,
great. So as you
y'all
can
go watch
see,
it
we ain't gonna get along. I think the great thing about us too is that we have a lot of stuff that we agree on, and I think we can have great discussions about the stuff that we don't agree on and come to a common ground. So that's the great thing about me and Kevin's discussions. That we always listen to one another and try to get the best insights from one another, and just try to use it as fuel to guide our thought process moving forward. So as you can see, we ain't gonna agree. We don't agree all the time. It's gonna be a little conflict in this, but our goal is to just make sure, man, all y'all who listen, all y'all who tuning in, just can take something from it. Even if you take a piece, man, we want you to leave with something that's gonna help better your life.
for sure, for sure. All right, man. You wanted to talk about this subject, man. So let's go and talk about something before we jump into the meat of what we're gonna talk about in this topic. You want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
this fight with this Michigan and Michigan State up this ramp. So I want to hear your
Um,
side of what you think will happen here. Since you're the Michigan fan, and I'm gonna tell you where I stand on this.
All right, man. Let's go blue all day. The undefeated Michigan Wolverines. Can't say that too much about the Notre Dame fighting Irish. They ain't fighting nobody right now. Probably fighting they playbooks. But
Okay.
this what I think about that situation with Michigan State and Michigan. Um, I think I think when you see the second video from the sky and you see the two Michigan players that are going through the tunnel, because they are the back two, like they probably were the first ones in the tunnel. Now, do I think they should have waited and let Michigan State go through? Absolutely, but I don't know what you could have said at that point in time that'll make 5, 10 Michigan State players jump up on one dude and hit him with helmets, right? Kevin made a good point about what happened if Peoria High School was coming
Bro,
through the same tunnel. What's what happened?
bro.
I get that, but I don't know if it was enough to to assault two players, right? Um, I do think they need to drop the hammer. I don't think these are young black men. I don't know if we should start talking about pressing felony charges, even though that's what they're talking about doing. But I think Michigan State was wrong. There's nothing unless our dudes swung a helmet at them or swung on them. I don't think there's nothing that our dudes could have done. And it was two on what, a team of 70. Come on, man, it's
Bro,
crazy.
we definitely disagreeing on this, and you brought up what I told you earlier. Like we're from. Hey, let's be real about it. We might be educated, but we from the hood, right? No, so like I said, if this was our high school and our rival Peoria Central Manual, we just lost to Peoria Central, and we walking through the tunnel, we mad, and some dude runs up in between us, and he probably excited him, talking mad junk to us, going back and forth. And you expect me not to respond, man? That's not realistic, right? Let's be real about the situation. His team, if you look at the Sky video you were talking about, his team was in the
Uh huh.
back. Their team was
Right.
in the back
Right.
waiting for Michigan State to go through tunnel. Why these two dudes skip to the front and try to get in front of Michigan State? They was on something. You can see by the way he was skipping up to the front. He was on a whole nother mission. He was on a whole nother mission. And that mission got him meat mocked, right? It got him whooped, right? It got him whooped, man. And I'm not saying
He
Michigan
got him a
State.
pumpkin head, but
Oh, I'm not saying Michigan State about beating up, bro. They not right. But man, Michigan has to be held accountable for the also because as you know, they go through the same tunnel. Notre Dame used to go through the same tunnel too, but there was starting to become altercations coming out the same tunnel, and now Notre Dame comes out a separate tunnel. All schools come out a separate tunnel. Why ain't Michigan, especially after Penn State the week before, told them that this was an issue? Why did some come up
hey,
to make a change here, right? Hey, he got whooped. He got to own that whooping, bro. He got to
hey,
own that
hey,
whooping, man.
man, just like my coach said, man, first of all, Penn State started the situation last week. But here go the thing, though. We talking about a whole different um era of football, right? And what I mean by era of football, I'm not saying that it's powder puff. We know it's powder puff. We know basketball and football. They've taken some of the rules out to make it a little softer. I'm talking about the fact that there's more to lose now, right? There's
Yeah.
more to lose, right? So now you have players who have NIL deals, right? Who are suspended or maybe kicked out of school and probably depended on that money to that they were sending back to their family or whatever. So at some point in time, as a young man, because remember even though these are young men, they're adults, and at some point in time, you have to make the decision that I'm not going to react that way because I have more to lose. Right? That kid that they beat up had torn ACL last year, didn't play in that game, so what was the purpose of finding somebody who didn't contribute, right? Well, was no if you find
Hey,
somebody who didn't contribute
hey,
and it wasn't 1-on-1.
I'm not gonna get on the whole NIL thing because you know how I feel about NIL, and I can talk about NIL all day. But you said, what's the point of beating up a dude who didn't play? And it was what? Well, what was the point of dude who didn't play being the first person up the tunnel? Just jumping in front.
Because he was
What was,
he was a close he's the closest to the back of the line. He ain't
no,
get no tick.
he should have been on the goal line running some sprints so he can get his body warmed up since he didn't play.
Listen, he ain't get no tick. They
No.
just beat they just beat their rival. He ain't get no tick, so he going to be the first one freshen up to get to the park.
Man, if you
What I'm
want to get
saying.
him that, man, come on, man.
No. I get it. No, I'm with you though that he should have let Michigan State and them go up. Now we don't know what he said in that tunnel. We
Exactly.
don't.
You don't know what he said or
But
did, right?
but I don't know what he could have said that will make you start swinging a helmet at him. You
Man,
feel me?
a couple B words, get some helmets one get you. You know how
Yeah.
sensitive dudes are about B words, bro. You know how.
And now
You know,
and now you see the difference between the good twin and the evil twin. This dude will swing on anybody for anything at any time.
and not no
Ain't
more,
ain't no
man.
talking.
Not no
Yeah.
more, man.
Well, you
I grew up,
changed.
man.
You
I grew
changed.
up.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I grew up
changed.
a little bit, man. I got a little
I
bit.
always thought you was soft. I always thought you was soft. I
We,
still think you soft, but you
we
changed.
we can talk about that too if you want to. If you want to go down that
Yeah,
road.
we can. We can.
Man, one more subject before we jump in this subject about fatherhood, though. We got to just touch on it a little bit. Kanye, just a little bit. We're gonna spend too much time on it. some of his
Hmm.
antics that he been doing, and how you feel about some of the stuff he been saying?
So for me, y'all, I would say, man, love him or hate him, man. You don't have to agree with somebody uh to to you don't have to agree with somebody to respect them as a human being, right? I think what we're doing now as a society is that when somebody comes out with something we completely disagree with, we lose our humanity, right? And I think that's what bothers me. What bothers me is that I can say in my head all along, oh man, Kanye crazy. But Kanye got a family. He got kids. He got people who he's connected to, and it's kind of like with the Draymond Green thing when he stole on Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole family had to see that, right? And I think that's Draymond was getting to. I think we got to realize when we react to Kanye West that there's people connected to him regardless of how crazy we think he sounds, no matter how crazy we think what he's doing, if we think he's been anti-Semitic, whatever, no matter what we think about what he's doing, there are people connected with him. Now, you can respect somebody's humanity and not fool with them, right?
Yeah.
Like I can respect you as a man, or respect you as a citizen of of this nation, and not fool with you. I ain't gotta ever go buy no Yeezys. I can call him out on his
It was ugly
anti-Semitism, right?
anyway.
Right, and I can call him out on anti-Semitic talk and all that stuff. I can do that because that's my right as a person with free speech. However, we still have to respect his humanity. I think so often we get to the point as people that we stop respecting people's humanity, and that's why stuff like January 6th happened,
Hmm.
right? That's why that happens, because we become so caught up in who we are that we forget about humanity. And that's my thing about Kanye West, man. I mean, I got my own opinions. I think I'm a pray for the brother. I got my own personal, social, and political feelings about what he's doing. But I just don't want us as a society to lose our humanity. And I feel like we going down a slippery slope to losing our humanity, man.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I'm gonna be quick about it. I want to go on a different direction on it though. Um, because I feel like what we gotta stop doing as humans is, and so me and you are unapologetically Christian, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
What I gotta see, what we gotta stop doing is when we have celebrity or anybody or any people, we gotta stop taking their word and looking at something they say in a taking snippets of what they say and saying, oh, they're saying something brilliant. They're making so much sense. We gotta stop taking snippets and listen to
We listen to
everything
him in
they
a
say,
vacuum.
right? We gotta
Yep.
listen to everything they say and then analyze it, right? Because the first when Kanye we came out was doing this stuff, he was on Nick Cannon's radio, and I was like, man, Kanye make a lot of sense, man. Like, but I also just listen. I listen to all 3 hours of the Gene Champs thing, all 3 hours, 3.5 hours, and I've never seen nobody talk in circles as much as Kanye talking in a circle. Right? He'll say something like, "Yeah, that makes sense," but then he attached it to something that was negative and didn't make sense. He attached his Christianity views with some negative. Like, how can you
Mm-hmm.
do that? How can you attach a positive view with a negative view and everybody, oh, he makes a lot of sense because they're looking at one part that made sense and not seeing the other part that doesn't make sense. That's negative. We got to stop doing that, right? When somebody's wrong, they're wrong. They can't be wrong for part and not wrong for another part. If they're saying something that's connected to something negative and that's not right, the whole thing is not right. You can't let people. We gotta stop letting these people talk in circles and trying to convince us that what they're saying is law. What they're saying is true. What they're saying is right. Man, we need to go research and do our own thing, right? We need to figure it out on our own and look stuff up, right? We can't always focus on what everybody else is saying.
And and on the same line, man, I know everybody who watched this ain't gonna be a Christian, but I do. I mean, you gotta think about Proverbs 4:7, man. It's telling us there to to in all things get an understanding.
You
All
don't
right, you got
understand,
other
man.
scripture that tell us study to show thyself approved. Like we can't listen to people's words in a vacuum, right? And we can't take their words as law or as solid truth unless we study it and get to know that concept for ourselves. We fooling ourselves,
Yeah,
right?
I can't
We're
say
not thinking for ourselves.
yeah, I can't say I'm right about some one situation and then say I hate this certain brand of people or I hate this situation. Like you talk about love and being loved, but then talk about hating something or something about a person or people or an action or then you're double talking, bro. You're double talking,
Yeah, but
right?
but then but then yeah, but then on the flip side, if you because Kyrie going through this right now too. Well, on the flip side for both of them, man. If you don't want the criticism, don't post it. Look, we are in a social media world. If you don't want the criticism, if you're gonna get mad when the criticism come, don't post it,
Keith, let's be
right?
honest, man. Yeah, we don't have to continue on this up. Let's be honest. They want the attention, bro. It's all
Yeah.
about
Oh,
attention, bro.
facts,
It's all about
facts,
attention, bro.
facts. But when they get up on the camera and they argue and say, "Don't put words in my mouth," no, we just saying which you didn't give us any context. So stop saying people put words in your mouth when you posted something without giving any context. That's on you, bruh.
Yeah, they can
So
miss me.
it is what it
Mhm.
is, man.
They
Yeah,
can they can miss
hey,
me.
believe what you want, more power to you, man. But don't expect people to be able to interpret what you're trying to say. If you're trying to say something, say it.
Yeah, I agree.
How I feel about
100%.
it.
Man, let's jump into this topic, man. We meant to be on here to talk about, man.
Yes, sir.
Fatherhood, man. Both of us are fathers. We have I have a beautiful boy. You have two beautiful boys. We're just gonna talk about fatherhood and not just in a sense of our what how we're doing now, but as far as where we came from and how that elevated us to be who we are as fathers, and try to give some type of insight to others on what that looks like or how that could be. So I want to start off and talk about. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I want to talk about where we came from and who we are and our
Mm-hmm.
father and things like that. But I don't want to spend too much time on it, and I want to make it clear like we love our pops, right? We love our dad
Mm-hmm. Yep.
wholeheartedly. So this ain't. I don't want to spend. The reason why I don't want to spend too much time is I don't want to seem like we're bashing, right? I'm sorry, bashing them or anything like that. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on our past in the sense of our father, right? So I'm not sure exactly the time when our father left, but I think we had to be 2 or 3 years old because, like, we were very young when our dad left,
Mm-hmm.
decided to leave our family. And honestly, we don't know the true reason or story behind why he left or
Mm-hmm.
any of that, right? And at this point in my life, I don't care, right? I
Yeah.
just
I'm
don't.
with you on
I don't
that.
care.
Yeah.
But we were raised most of our life without our father, our dad. So most of our life we were raised without him. And some people talk about how hard it was in their life and how that affected them. I mean, it affected us, right? I mean, 6 kids, single mom, raised in the Harrison homes. It was a rough life, Section 8, food stamps, welfare, all that type of stuff. Man, but one thing I can say, man, before I keep going is I enjoyed my life though. I
Fat
mean,
man.
it was rough, but when I look back on it, man, we had cousins and aunts and uncles. Like our family was so tight back then. It's like our life was tough, but we had fun, man. But
Mm-hmm.
with that, I don't know if you want to jump in real quick, but if you want to jump in, you
Yeah.
can.
What I want to jump in is just a shout out my hero, always gonna be my hero, my mom's, man. Whenever we talk about something of diligence, we're gonna talk about later about single mothers a little bit, or mothers being fathers a little bit, but we got to shout out Miss R. Curtis King, man, my mama, our mama, who's the queen of the King family. um just her work ethic, hard work, man. Every ounce of me is due to her hard work and everything she put in and her love and care to make sure we have the things we need, man. So I just wanted to take a time to shout her out, but also for me, man, father. And the reason why this is an important topic, man, is fatherhood, man. That's the best name I could be called is dad,
I'm trying
man.
to tell you,
By
love it.
KJ and Elijah. Love y'all. But man, ain't no better title. I mean, I got my doctorate. I'm Dr. Davis. But dad beats that 100%
All
of the
day,
time.
all
A
day.
100% of the time. They call me Principal David. That 100% of the time. Poet 100% of the time, dad, no matter what title you can give me, dad is going to overshadow it, man. So that's why this is an important topic, man, because um and we'll get more into it, but I just wanted to take time to shout out what I think about what fatherhood means to me, and just shout out my moms, man. You know, you the best in the world, man. You the world's greatest. Love you. Just thank you for pouring into us for this past. How old are we? 30 now for these past 38 years, man. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree, 100%. Love you. So I'm gonna jump back into this, but I wanna first we have to define what father is, what a fatherhood is, right? And everybody has their own decision. I know some people say you're a father, but you want the daddy or vice versa.
yeah,
We're gonna talk about that later. But fatherhood and some people gonna hate what I'm finna say, and I don't. Let me not say I don't care, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
you can say it. Be unapologetic.
Fatherhood, fatherhood is a commitment from a male figure to a child with his whole heart. It's a complete commitment by a male, and I keep saying that male part. I'm sorry. I'm going to continue to say by a male wholeheartedly to a child, right? And that means every instance, like you are committed to the well-being and the welfare of that child, whatever that child needs, whatever he's going through,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, physically, spiritually. It's your responsibility, and you take charge of that, and you take onus of that responsibility, and say, you know what, I'm committed to this. This is what I stand for. This child is mine. And notice I didn't say biological.
Yeah,
I never
that's
once mentioned the
important.
word biological, right? It's a
That's
commitment
important.
from a male, right? And I don't know if you want to give it your own definition, but the reason why I'm saying that the way I'm saying it is because though our father wasn't there for some time, we had males around us that stepped
Yeah.
up and played a huge role to make us who we are. Not just us, our sister, our other brothers, right? Our cousins, right? It's people that stepped up in our lives. There were male figures that stepped up to make sure we knew what a father was, knew what fatherhood was.
And uh, it can't be halfway. You got to be all in, right?
All
I think the key thing about fatherhood reason why I state that is because some often people are like, man, I done bought him some Jordans in the outfit for Easter. Nah, no, I'm sorry, man. Providing isn't the only piece of fatherhood,
right.
because what we do as men, we think the male is the enforcer, the give the manhood, but dads, we can be nurturing too.
Yep.
We can nurture too, and so we if we're going to be a father who practice, and this is critical, a father who practices fatherhood, right? A
Yeah.
father who practices fatherhood, we have to be all in. It's not, and I know there are situations from divorce or separations or breakups where it's a struggle to invest, but the but being all in, even with the obstacles, is important. So it's
Yeah.
about being dedicated to the practice of being a father.
And if I had to categorize what, like you mentioned, like buying Jordans and being and buying that type of stuff is, and it's not being completely being a father. It's part of it, but it's not. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
the main aspect. If I had to rank the levels of being a father, that would probably be last. The physical would probably be last, right? Spiritual always gonna be first, and then emotional is always second, right? If you're not investing in your kid as a father, spiritually and emotionally, you're failing. It's simple. You're failing.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna add something to that. If you're not investing in your child physically, spiritually, mentally, who is?
No, good question. Good
Who
question.
is? And so, I thought about this. My mother-in-law, hey ma, um, my mother-in-law used to say, you should pray with the kids. And I wasn't doing it for a while, but I was like, Keith, you have to invest in your kids spiritually too. Like, it's just not the provider, it's just not the nurture, it's just not the showing them what a real man do and how to be accountable and show integrity. No, I need to speaking to them spiritually. So what have we have been doing for the past month? I pray with them every night. Eli prays, KJ pray, I pray. I'm showing them what it means to be a man that prays, right? And so we got to remember if that we have to be models and we have to practice what we are modeling for our kids.
Yeah,
But if
me and
we're
Kevin,
not,
we pray every night
yeah,
too.
if we're not pouring into right, and if we're not pouring into them in that way, man, who is? What is? Right. So I think what you said was critical, man. We should be doing that. If we're not, we're failing, or we're creating opportunities for conflict. Are we
Well, we,
create? We're creating obstacles. We're creating conflict. And so
yeah,
what you
I
said
mean,
is powerful, man.
we wonder why the streets are loving our kids, right? We wonder why
Mm-hmm.
so many of our young men are dying, right? It's because we're not investing in those two areas, spiritually and emotionally. That's key, right? But going back to us, right? Um, like I said, we had people that were installed in our lives that helped us, showed us what men should be like, right? We had Dean Johnson was a male figure, Jim Sneed, Willie Johnson. Those are the three like main like we had tutors and things like that that were key components also, but those three actually showed us one thing major was not only just how to be a man in a figure, but they showed us how to be men to women, right? Now, I'm a guy that believes in full disclosure. This
Mm-hmm.
man and women thing, I
Let's do
failed
it,
that.
bro.
I failed that,
Yeah.
right?
That.
But though I
Mm-hmm.
failed in some areas, it's not that I didn't know. I just made mistakes that I can do better, and I will continue to do better, right? Um, so these people poured into us, and we were allowed to know what it meant to be a father, what it meant to be a husband, what it meant to be um, to connect with kids and things like that. And we were able to do that when and we'll talk later when we went into coaching and things like that and mentoring kids, right? They helped us see that and understand what that was because we could have easily went to the streets. Right? It would have been easy for us to go to the streets and
Facts.
get love and acceptance from there and have those people tell us what love was and what fatherhood was, even though most of them weren't taking care of it, right? We could have went there and got there, but we say focus on those people those men that gave us that vision and helped us see what it's supposed to be like, and that's what we roll with.
And so I'm glad. I think you're right. I think it is about full disclosure, and I failed as well. Um, but like you said, like we were introduced to it, and it's like, and we knew what to come back to, right? And so I think that's very critical that we talk about those men. You brought up Dean, Willie, and Jim, who I can't speak how instrumental they were to who I am as a man right now. All right,
Yeah,
especially Dean. I can remember all the things that I'm like, man, I would have never gotten this if Dean wouldn't show me this, right? Willie, aka Big Folks,
folks.
man, you talking about somebody who teaches you, how to love, but how to give. right? That it is more blessed to give than receive. And you got Jim, you just made sure we had what we needed, that he believed in our intelligence and our education. He just wanted to make sure that we succeeded. And so even in our failures, we came back to what we learned from them. Right? So in fatherhood, that doesn't mean you always have to protect. Sometimes you have to allow to fall. Right?
Yeah.
And I think we gotta get into that yes, we're protectors, but but can we be protectors and still be educators of our children? And so I think I think it's very critical later when we talk about mentorship, because I mean, we got, like you said, we got other people. We got Coach Webster. We got a ton of people we can talk about. We got Mark, Johnny, that we can talk about who poured into our lives. But um, it was critical that these people poured in us. But Kev, one thing I want to say, and I don't know if you had this for later in the show, um, our mom put us in the way of those things and put us into those opportunities and made sure we were around those male figures. And I think that's critical, right?
Oh,
I think
we're gonna
that's critical.
we're gonna tap into that. We're gonna tap into that
Yep.
side of
So,
it because
well, I'm not gonna get too far ahead in that but but man, just thank y'all, man. We are the man, who were able to make mistakes and bounce back because of those who poured into our lives. The people that right now to this day I still say Happy Father's Day to, because
yeah.
they are fathers to me.
Yeah, so here's a question for you though. Who are you if you had to detail who you were as a father, what would you say about yourself? Who are you as a father?
I would say, ooh, you got me on the spot with that one though. That's a good one though. You got me on the spot with that one. I would say I'm a leader, right? Because what I try to impart into my boys, I always try to give them learning opportunities and learning from to learn from their behavior and to learn from their actions and to learn how to do things that they would normally know how to do. Katie and Elias have chores every Saturday. My boys can fold their own clothes, they can wash their own clothes, they can sweep the floor, they can wipe down all the stainless steel appliances, they can clean the bathroom, they can clean their own rooms, and they can garden. And they are 8 and 10, right? And so my goal during that is to instill in them um tools that will help them be successful in the future. Now, the key thing about the question, reason why it was hard for me was because there's some things that I don't do great,
Yeah.
right? That I'm working on. I'm working on the nurturing piece. I'm working on the social piece that are important. But I think if at the greatest piece of my what I see fatherhood is being a leader. It always reminds me of Simba and Mufasa, right?
Yeah.
His goal was Simba followed Mufasa and taught him what it means to be a leader. But are there other areas I need to grow in? Yeah. So for you, what do you see? What do you see you as yourself as a father? Where do you see
If
you?
if I had to define in one word, two words or less, what I am as a father, and this might not be the right word, but I just believe it fits me. It's all in. I'm an all in father. I'm 100%, and we're gonna talk more about why this is my thought process and concept when it comes to my son. But I'm all in. Whatever he needs, whatever he wants. Me and my son's mother is no are not together, but co-parenting is key for us. And we
Mm-hmm.
co-parent. In my opinion, we co-parent better than most. Our co-parenting right now is dang near perfect, right? Because he's the focus, right? I'm all in. Whatever my son needs, he has. If he needs to be disciplined in a certain way, he's disciplined. If he needs to read, write, he needs to whatever my son needs, he needs some emotional guidance, some spiritual, whatever he needs. I'm all in. There's nothing my son would need that I wouldn't walk across the earth to get for him. Not one thing. I'm all in. 100% engaged with my son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why, like, I'm the same way. I'm all in for my boys. Man, for me, Kev, it's not about them having a better life than I had. It's about them growing up to be stronger and better and more well equipped man, a better, more equipped man than me.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't want them to. It's not about giving them. I mean, the great thing about my kids are they since they was little, they can turn anything into a toy. They can turn
Yeah.
anything. They don't care about shoes. They don't care. Um, but I think so often we try to give our kids, and this is going to be cliche. We try to give our kids what we say. Don't give your kids what you didn't have. Give them more what you had. And I agree with it. I think what I try to do is um refine some of the things that were taught to me to help my kids who are in a different generation understand it.
So with what you're saying, I get what you're saying, but I see it a tad bit different, and it's not much different. But it's say you don't want, like you're saying. If I'm saying this wrong, correct me. But you're saying that you refine and try to make sure the things you learned and did that it still you instill that in them, and it helps them develop into a great person, right? But one area I believe, in my opinion, I believe that we need to give more in is knowledge, right?
Hmm.
There's certain things, us growing up that nobody told us that I'm
Yeah,
dang sure
true,
telling my son, right?
true.
Financials. Not many of us are so much fighting and so financial heartache because we didn't know how to manage money.
Hmm.
We didn't know that if you take out that student loan and get that extra money, get that check that they
The
give you
refund
to get
check.
that money back, that refund
Hmm.
check, that you got to pay that money back, right? And that money goes on top of what you took out, and that accrues interest over time, and you got to pay the government back their money, right? Or if you get multiple credit cards, that create 23% APR. We didn't know this, right? We didn't know how to truly love women. I mean, we talked about how we got it from those other men that raised us, but
Yeah.
there's some things about our failures in that area. I'm dang sure telling my son, hey, I failed here. I don't want you to
Hmm.
fail there, right? So it's a transfer of knowledge. I think that extra transfer of knowledge has to happen.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because I feel the same way as you. But and we'll get to this topic later, in the not later in this podcast, but later in one of our recordings. Um, is I'm gonna teach my kids about mental health. We didn't
Amen.
get that
Yeah,
as a
absolutely.
community, and I'm just gonna say it as a black community.
Absolutely.
Mental health. That's like a four-letter word. Um, but I'm going to address my kids' mental health when I see it. I'm going to get them the help and support they need when I see it. I'm going to let them know that it's okay to have an issue that needs to be dealt with through a mental issue that needs to be dealt with by a doctor, psychiatrist, or to see a therapist, and that we need to stop making certain stuff. And when you talk about giving them knowledge, we need to stop making certain discussions taboo for our kids.
I agree.
And and I think you're right though. We have to spit our knowledge to our kids. And I just reason why I said those things because I also believe, even though you have to let your kids experience, I'm 100% about letting your kids experience the world, experience heartbreak, experience failure. I think it's critical. But if there are some common pitfalls I can not have my children go through, I'm gonna do
Absolutely.
it
Oh,
without babying them and without pacifying them. I'm
absolutely.
gonna do it. And so I think you're right. I think the one thing we can always get better on is the knowledge piece.
Yeah. It's got to be like, I got to be able to, like you said, deter them from certain pitfalls. Doesn't mean they're going to listen and not fall through those pitfalls, but I have to pour it into them where this isn't this is going to be an issue. It's going to come up, right? Sexual addiction. Probably gonna be an
Gonna
issue,
come
buddy.
up.
Probably gonna be an issue. Porn is
And that stuff's
everywhere,
so
right?
taboo for us.
Yeah.
It's so taboo for us. But man, think about how strong of a generation of men we would create if nothing was taboo to
Yeah.
discuss with your kids and to
Yeah.
help them grow from. If it was an area that you can help your kids grow and be successful, and it wasn't taboo to talk about it based on culture or whatever you just block you from talking about it, think about how strong of young men we will create for women, right? We will create stronger men in the household if we're willing to and able to talk about topics that for years and years and maybe generations have been taboo and been shunned upon.
Yeah. But our biggest fight is society, right? That's our biggest
Mm-hmm.
fight. In my
Yep.
opinion, we fighting what TV shows on our kids, what music is telling our kids, what social media is telling our kids. That's the fight. I mean, so
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna jump us into these next two, but um, what about fatherhood makes it great or joyous experience for you? What about it?
man, hey, I kid you not. I don't know if some of y'all that listen to this might have seen my son smile, bro. My son smile, bro.
That's all you need.
Hear my son smile, bro. Bro, I can be pissed off at Caleb. And he'll come up to me and smile and start laughing because he know I'm mad and try to get me out of it. And instantly I'm out of whatever he did wrong. I'm not mad no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's my when we do have fun and sit and smile and laugh and bro, that's all I need, bro. I don't need nothing else. My son can. I don't need my son to go be no doctor, no lawyer. Like it'd be great if he all that stuff or whatever. Bro, if my son smiles every day and he's happy with his life, his happiness is period all I need. Him smiling,
Mm-hmm.
him being happy, him showing love, him being, committed to who he is, bro. Nothing else matters.
So with my two boy, I got it's kind of a dual experience and then a separate experiences within our joys for me. I'm gonna talk about the dual experience. One of my greatest experiences with my boys is the fact that every time I pick them up from school, without fail, Dad, how's your day at work? And what was your favorite part of work? Without fail, my kids ask me those two questions, and not just as a repetitive thing because they do it, because they're truly interested in how my day was and what the best part was. Just like every day, I ask them how was school, what you learned today. But as soon as KJ and Elijah get in that car, hey Dad, how's your day at work? What was your favorite thing about work? Every single day. Now, individually, KJ, one thing I really love is I'm guaranteed a hug, a kiss, and a dad, how are you feeling every night before he goes to bed. Every single night. And that's we could need to talk about this too, fellas. It's not, don't be ashamed to kiss your boys.
Yeah,
Give your boys a kiss on the forehead or side. Man, we need to start making fatherly affection a routine thing. And so, without fail, KJ is going to at some point ask me, "Dad, how am I feeling?" He's going to say good night. He's going to give me a hug and say, "I love you, Dad," and give me a kiss. Without fail, I can, I will bet my paycheck every month that will happen every night, right? With Elijah is so smart, and he's me. He is the mirror image of me in a lot of facets, and just to hear his level of intelligence and his love of the outdoors and his just his laugh. The kids he's just a active body who just loves to just flourish in any atmosphere that he's in, and that makes me proud that I have a young man who can ingratiate in anything, right? And I, mean, I like all you kids, you got stuff to work on, but he is a very unbelievable young man who has no no limits, no, he likes everything except for when it comes to certain types of food. But he's just unbelievable thing. But man, I'm telling you, guaranteed every day, my kids truly can ask me and show me that they care every day. They get inside of my car when they get home from school every day.
That's man, that's so great.
You
Bro,
know how great, but people, I want other men to feel that though, man. You know,
yeah,
like, you know how I feel to just say, man, like if I come in like, man, I got a headache, got a bad day. Like Elijah come out of nowhere and say, Dad, how's your head feeling? I forgot that I told him that morning my head was hurting. He's like, Dad, is your head feeling better? Like true, just compassionate kids, man.
yeah,
And I want other dads to feel that.
yeah. You
I
got
just
two
want them to
solid
feel it,
boys. Yeah,
man.
yeah, I agree, man. Like, yeah, my son, yeah, every time he tells me he love me, that's solid. That's solid for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that, let's go ahead and jump into this piece because I actually wanted to plug this piece in. So everybody, most people that watch this probably don't. Probably, well, I'll say most people probably do know this, but those who don't, that I'm an educator, right? Um, I believe I'm gonna say this, and you disagree, but I don't really matter if you disagree because I believe it that it's the best profession in the world. It is the most important thing in the world that we educate our students. But one thing about the educational system, that we don't talk about this spectrum of special education, right? And I want to talk about and when we talk about special education, y'all, there's a spectrum. Everybody think, oh, those kids that used to be in that back corner classroom, that was in that class all day. But you're talking about kids that are self-contained, always to gifted students. There's a spectrum to special education. But I know, Kevin, that you are raising a child with special needs, right? My nephew, I know my nephew has special needs, so I want to spend some time for the fathers who are raising students or raising kids with special needs, whether that's learning disabilities, emotional disabilities, autism, whatever it is. I want them to know your experience with being a father of a young child with special needs, and not only the effect that has on your parenting style, but the effect on you mentally and emotionally. Because I think we can help a lot of men in this area.
Yeah, so yeah, my son Caleb was diagnosed with autism at 3, and I didn't want to get him diagnosed, right? The people at daycare was like, we should look into it, and I'm like, man, my son, fine, my son, he all right, he's got a little bit delay, he'll be out, and a lot of black people do this, like, I got a little bit delay, they can grow out of it, right? The day he got tested, the day it came back that he was autism, like, and people that know me know I'm a strong dude, right? I got in the car, man, and I bawled. I cried like a baby in the car. Because what flashes your mind is like all the expectation things I had planned to do with my son when he got older. He's gonna be the star linebacker, and he's gonna be a great person, the president of the United States, and all that changes when you find out your son is diagnosed with this type of disability. Your mind has to change, right? And sometimes as men, we get in our feelings and our emotions,
Hmm.
like what do we do now, right? Like what I'm supposed to be as a father, I can't be because my expectations were, and now my expectations are all flipped, right? But man, what I want to say to people that have or men that have kids with disability is you have to buy into it, right? It
Hmm.
can't be, oh, they're gonna grow out of it. Oh, it's all in time, bro. What you have to do is when you find out that your kid has some type of disability, or you somebody tell you, or you sense it, you have to go into to direct figure it out mode. Like, what is
Yeah.
it? How is it treated? Do I need to get them in therapy, speech, OT, PT? What do I need to do? And be fully committed into whatever it takes to get your kid the most. And it's just not for fathers, but it's for mothers too.
Hmm.
And like in knowing the system, especially you talk about education, knowing the IEP system in your state, right? Knowing what you need to do, how because if you pay taxes, we pay taxes in your state, the state is obligated to treat certain things, right? When you're in the public schools and public systems, They have certain responsibilities to do certain things. You have to be educated on what those things are and what they're supposed to do. Like once I found out my son had autism, I researched autism, even though that spectrum is so vague and long. I researched what it is. I paid attention to on his assessments, like what they say he lacks at, where he lacks at. How can we help him? What therapies he need to get into? Caleb right now is in every therapy he needs. Right, he's been in every therapy. Caleb, from the moment he was diagnosed till now, is exponentially better to the point where now in first grade they started him out in a special ed classroom. But his mom talked to the teacher talked to his mom this past week and was like, we think we should probably move Caleb to a general class because intellectually he can do the work. He does the work and he's there. He might need some
Mhm.
assistance with his attention and getting his focus back. His speech isn't all the way there yet, but now they're saying, but that's because we committed to the therapies. We did the research. We did everything that we needed to do to try to get him, prepare him for not just now, but for his future. If you lag and drag your feet in that area, you're doing a disservice to your kid. You're doing a disservice to him.
Mhm.
So we got to do better, especially in the black community. We do not do good in this area. Just like you all said, mental health, this is another area, the special needs area, where we fail. Oh, they'll grow out of it. They'll be fine. No, no,
Mhm.
ma'am, no, sir. They won't. They won't. So me and my son,
And,
like, it's tough though. It's tough on you as a father when you have these expectations and it just get flipped on you. But man, like I said, I'm all in as a father. I'm all in, man. I'm all in.
and you know when you first told me about what when they first diagnosed my young buddy Caleb, and that you bought, um I know the first. I know you, and I know the first thing you came like, man, my son ain't probably gonna play football. But one thing you came back and said though was, my son gonna be able to do whatever he wants to do.
He wants to do.
That that's when it flipped for you. So if Caleb eventually wants to play football, he's gonna play football. And I think you didn't you I think mentally what we can do is we can set boundaries for our kids through that, right? He's
Yeah.
autistic, so he can't do this. But one key thing you said was, and I'm just gonna say the word because you didn't say the word, is you advocated for your child.
Oh, absolutely.
And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because as an educator, I'm gonna say this, and educators, you can disagree with me. I doubt most of you will. There are very few fathers that attend IEP meetings,
Man,
right?
that's true.
There are very few fathers who attend IEP meetings at their schools for their kids. Now, I'm going to say this: whether you're with your the mother of your child or not, you need to be at those meetings, and you need to be
Absolutely.
advocating for your kid. I think it's important as fathers. It's easier for us to pass off the educational piece to our female counterparts, but our kids need the advocacy of their fathers as well. I'd be stupid to put a percentage on it, but I can tell you, very few fathers come to IEP meetings to advocate for the resources for their children with special needs. And I think it's important. I think it's important because to have two minds at a table to discuss what they both are seeing in the children so that everybody at the table, the entire IEP team, can come up with the proper plan for that child, I think it's essential, right?
Yeah.
Especially and I would say it's even more important when you're not living together, right? Because you two get to see two different things,
Yeah.
right? He can act as we know our kids act certain a different way with mom than they do with dad. We know that. For instance, we had an IEP meeting for KJ. He's no longer on this IEP, but um, the reason why advocacy is important is because I'm just tell a quick story. KJ was maybe 3 or 4. I think he was going to pre-K, and they brought us to the meeting. It's like, oh, they was like, he can't read. They said He can't read. He don't know his numbers. He can't. He doesn't know his colors. He can't. He don't know his right hand from his left hand. And I wasn't at the first assessment. And I was like, wait, hold on, what? I said, okay, KJ, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. KJ, which one's right hand? Right hand.
Bro,
This one, left hand. And I was like, yes, he can, but because I wasn't it wasn't my fault. I can say sometimes you think like, oh, I'm gonna let this one spouse handle it. And Maxine does a great job, and I said it's her. No, matter of fact, let me change. I don't think either one of us were there. They were testing him, but we were the ones who could advocate for him. And when we heard them say like, he can't do these things, we both, because I remember we both looked at each other and said, yeah, that's not true. Actually, he's probably above those levels. Um, and so I was able to say, I work with as a father. I've worked with these things with KJ. I know he knows these things. I know KJ know how to go to the bathroom. I know he knows right hand from left hand. What they did, Kev, was KJ back when he was small, and he loved his toys. He loved his toy cars. The first thing they did when they tested him is took his toy car away. Right? So KJ, give me a toy car. And so, did they really think KJ was going to perform when you took away the only thing
bro,
that kept him calm and focused?
bro. We experienced the
So,
same
so
thing with Caleb.
yeah, and so that's what key thing is that you like. My wife Maxine is a great mother, and we advocate for our kids together. And that was the first time I truly saw, even though it was when I was very young, how important it was for me and her to advocate for our kids. But also that made me think back to how it's important for me as a dad to also advocate, because me and Maxine, like, our relationships with our kids are different. I mean, mom and dad relationships with their kids are going to be different. And so I would see things, and Maxine would be able to speak to those. Oh no, I saw him. She was able to speak to the things that I wasn't able to see, and so that's why both parties need to be at the table, whether you together or not. Both parties need to be at the table.
And so I'm just gonna end this part with here with this is I agree with that both parties be at the table because me, like I said, me and Caleb's mother's not together, but we both were at the table. And what I also think happens when the father's not at the table. So in our meeting, Carmela would do all the talking. She did all the talking, right? And I would just sit there because I know Carmela gonna ask all the questions. She gonna I don't really need to ask questions because she's
Mm-hmm.
gonna. But they need to know that dad's here and that you're not gonna sit
Yes.
like for me. It's letting you know I'm not finna sit here and let y'all say anything about my son and give him whatever y'all want to give him because it's easier for y'all. My son need a one-on-one. My son gonna get a one-to-one.
Mm-hmm.
See, I can be quiet dad or I can be ferocious dad. Y'all choose which one y'all want because I feel like in some sessions, these some educators, not all, or not educators, the people doing assessments. I won't say the educators and teachers, but people doing assessment, they want to do the quicker, easier thing, right? The simpler thing. But you know your kid. You know what it takes
Mm-hmm.
for a kid to be developed and do the right thing and grow. You gotta voice that. You gotta make sure they understand you're not gonna play around with your kid. I'm pretty sure I made that clear.
Yep, and I just want one quick thing. I think another great thing, and this is for you women who are listening. Uh, and it's just critical for me to say is that our kid, both of our like my two kids and your son, have dope mothers too,
Yeah.
right? Who allow who will advocate just as strongly as we will, and who will fight for the needs of their kids, but also allow us
to
to
to step in
to
when
do
we need
to step in. Yes, and so I just want to shout out to them. We have dope. Our kids have dope mothers that facilitate that process.
Absolutely. Yeah, we I want to don't keep this too long, but there's two things I want to talk about before we really get up out of here. Is we both were in coaching, right? And we want to talk about
Mm-hmm.
mentoring for kids or in situations where kids don't have fathers or being a father figure to a kid um that's not yours, right? Coaching is just think about how much time a coach spends with a kid over a period of time, right? Sometimes a coach
Yes.
might spend more time with a kid than their own parents will, right? So the importance of being a mentor or being a coach or being in those situations, I think is critical to our community.
Critical.
It's critical to our community. And we took on that role right out of college, being coaches, and you going right into teaching and bring me on your coaching staff. I had to learn through that process how
Hmm.
to be that mentor, how to be that coach, how to be that father figure. Because I know some kids don't react the same way to certain things, but the role of a coach and a mentor is so important as being a father figure. We can't we can't make it seem like that role isn't as important as it is.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, even though I started out coaching, my first years of college, I think where we first saw that transformational thing and the importance of that coaching piece, and we got to shout out Urban Prep EGP, aka Urban Prep West Campus, and our boys for those 4 years that we were there. I think that the relationships there really, because we saw it in our own lives, the importance of the coaching and the mentorship, but experiencing being in that coaching and mentoring role was critical, and you saw the value in it. Because to the day, to see those young men become fathers now, to see them with their kids on
Yeah,
Facebook,
crazy.
it's tremendous, man. It make my eyes water up. Like, man, I'm proud. I'm proud to
Yeah,
say that's my guy, Daryl Thomas. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's my guy, Lawrence Me. Like, that stuff makes me proud because and to hear them come back and say, even my boy Jamal Murphy, I know, like he's going to DePaul right now. He got it. I think he just got his principal certification. I think going to get his doctorate. Um, to see kids that grew up on the south and west side of Chicago who took some of the things that we were able to impart in them and become these great young men. It's not the feeling is overwhelming, man. It's overwhelming because it's like, man, like it's important, like you said, it's critical in our communities because our kids need it, man. We didn't go in knowing what those kids needed, but we
yeah.
sought it out.
Yeah. And I actually, I'm on my 13th year of actually coaching. This year, I'm not doing too much like actual physical coaching, but when I sit back and think how many lives I've touched over 13 years coaching football, you know how many kids are on the football team? To sit
Hmm.
back and think how many lives you've touched over 13 years. That's emotional, bro. When you get, like you said, when you get those from some kids that come back and like, man, when some kids that say thank you, love you, coach, bro. You
Hmm.
know that's like major, man. That's like just to hear that, man, and see them grow and be young
Just to
men and
see them
have these,
doing well.
yeah, doing well, bro. Like that's
Yeah.
huge, man. Being that saying like I was that father figure in that moment. Not that I was their father, but in that moment, that time they need me to be that father figure, I was there, right? And I helped them be who they become, man. Like, man, that's bro, that's like one of my greatest accomplishments in life.
Yeah, and you know, you just look at some of the things, and that's what I want to share with coaches and mentors, man. Is that, man, these kids watching everything you do. First of all, value what you do and what you impart into those kids, because they don't get a what, just like a baby absorbs everything that's going on in the house around them and they learn from that. Those kids you mentoring are doing the same thing. I'll start out for throw this out for existence. My boy Demetrius Ruffin, you got Big Grant, um, uh, you got Harris, you got Corrector. You know what all fraternity they in?
They
Omega
accused,
Psi
right?
Phi, right? The impact of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity members that were part of Urban Prep, it had a lifelong impact,
Yeah,
right? They got all these new brothers. Malik Savage, that's number 4 or 5. All these new brothers into Omega Psi Phi because of the impact of the mentors who were accused at Urban Prep.
yeah,
It was that powerful. It was that powerful when your kids call you back and say, "Hey, man, look, everything you taught me, man, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get into Malcolm X College. Help me. What? How can you help me write my thing? Can you help me, fill out the application? Because it be kids that you never thought was like, man, I imparted to this kid. He ain't gonna go to college, and they come back and they see it again. Or if you have a kid that got that something happened to them, they'd be like, man, I need to get my life together. Man, your impact, they're absorbing everything that you do, from your mannerisms to the way you carry yourself, the words you impart. And so, man, I want mentor and coaches to understand, like, man, you have a critical part in these young men's lives, these young
Yeah,
girls' lives. It's
absolutely,
critical.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree, man. And this next thing I want to say, it's controversial, but
Get to it,
I'm
brother.
gonna say it. Mothers, you are not fathers. My mother was not my father. What my mom did was surround me with men to show me how to be a man and be a father. My mother was not
Facts.
my father. I hate on Father's Day when people post, I'm my son, my baby's mother and father. No, you're not. You're not. You can try. You can teach your son father like things. You can do that. You can teach him and tell him what to do, but there's something different about a man showing him what to do. The action of doing it. I'm sorry, you might not like what I just said.
Mm-hmm.
Mothers, you're not fathers. You are awesome mothers. You are awesome mothers. You can say that all the time. I am an awesome mother because I'm doing all this and his father's not around. I am an awesome mother. But you're not the father. You're not a father. Surround your kids with father like figures that can help him become what he needs to be. Like they can motivate him and tell him this is what a man should do. This is how the man should carry himself. Surround him with that. Don't be so prideful that you hold that away from your kid. Right? Be cognizant that you're doing something that could be detrimental. Like once again, my mom did not take on a father role. My mom surrounded us with father figures. And I can't thank her enough for that.
Amen. Hey, but what I don't want to do is let the fathers who are not involved off the hook, right?
Oh
Because
no.
this
Oh,
could not, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I just wanted to be, I want to be clear about something. It's because of you that that woman has to work twice as hard, right? She could never truly feel the shoes of a father, but she still has to work twice as hard because you're
absolutely.
not pulling your weight.
No way.
And I think, and I think that that's critical to say, because, and I'm sorry to say that's pulling weight because being a father to me ain't a job, it ain't
Nope.
a duty, it's a love.
Yep.
I love being a father. And so, even though there is the belief is that a woman can't be a father, you who are not stepping up and doing what's necessary in your kids' lives are causing women to have to do double the work, attempt to rear their child on both sides of the spectrum, which is causing heartache, heartbreak,
Hey,
strife, mental health.
I want to put
I mean,
I want to put it in a simpler term. And I want to look, I'm gonna let all y'all know y'all fathers ain't doing your job. If you a father and you not carrying your weight, you a coward. And you can come see me if you want to. You're a coward. You're a punk.
evil 10 versus good 10. I said it a nice way. You come straight out and say it. You
Straight
feel
out,
me?
bro. If you not taking care of responsibility with your kids, bro, you're a coward, you're a punk, and you can come see me if you're mad about me saying that.
And
Simple.
here's the thing. The reason why I did me what I just said was important for me to say is because my mom had to raise five boys
Yep.
and doing double the work on five boys and one girl to do double the work. My mom physically and mentally still feel that.
Yep. Yep. So yeah.
And that almost brought tears to my eyes because she still mentally and physically feels that. Her knees, her back, having to lift people every day. I never forget the day that we had to move out of the house and she took the refrigerator to the U-Haul. Like physically, my mom had to do things to make sure that we were straight. Mentally, she had to believe things she was straight. And I'm gonna speak for you. But the day she called you and was like, "Man, I'm sorry about this." She called me and said, "I'm sorry about this." I said, "Mama, you did the no. I'm not mad
Yeah.
about anything. I was blessed, and I thank
Blessed,
you and I
man.
honor you." But mentally, she feels like she didn't do enough,
Yep.
and that's what we're doing as men when we don't take the responsibility to assist in the rearing of our children. It's not fair to the woman to have to take the burden. I can't say it's a burden because raising a child is one. It's probably, like I said, it's a love, but to have to to take the take all of it, and to have to just think about that. You're talking about double for every kid. That
Yeah.
men. That's not fair. That's not cool, and it's not fair.
Not at
And
all.
that's all I have to say about that. It's just not fair. So women just like it's very important that we surround our especially our young men with males to help rear them. But in doing that, man, we got to make sure that we're in a proper place to be able to do that, and that we're trying to get involved. Man, if it's just one kid, man, you see in your neighborhood that
Man,
you
that's what.
have come out, hang out with your kid to play a video game, y'all go off a pizza or burger or something, ask their parent to go out for a pizza or something. Do it, man. Do it. Like take the initiative. But we have to be, and we'll get to this. It's gonna be one of our talks too. Man, we have to be in the mental place, and a lot of us, we not.
Absolutely. Hey, we got stories about our own situation when it comes to
Yeah,
the mental stuff. So, one thing I can say though, and one thing I'm proud about is that I can honestly say that all the men in our circle are solid fathers.
yeah,
That's one thing I can proudly say. And I ain't say perfect. I said solid, right? Committed to their kids, right? Not perfect. I'm not perfect, right? But are like the people. If I think about my circle, who are my family, who's in my friend groups, they all solid fathers, man, and that's something that I'm proud to say. Like I'm proud to say that. So, what's
it's nice to see fatherhood, especially. We can only keep mentioning the black community, but I'm glad there's a. I don't know if you seeing it, but I'm starting to see a resurgence of the black father, right?
yeah,
I'm starting to see a resurgence, and that's good that's good to start seeing, and we just want to build upon that. Um, but well, I do want to just say, man, look, me and Kevin talking to y'all from a place of humbleness, a place of experience, a place we failed, we continue to fail. Um, we gotta pull ourselves back up. Awesome. Ain't nothing about us perfect. Nowhere close. We just want to make sure whatever experiences that we've experienced and whatever we're able to impart into to other men, that we're able to do it. After this podcast, we probably gonna fail again,
yep,
right? But it's about how we pick ourselves up and how we take those next steps. So I just want to make clear, we're not. This is not a judgmental podcast about this is what fatherhood is and this is what being a man. But we're saying, look, we just want to impart to y'all what we believe it is and where we need to go as far as men and as far as fatherhood, and that I'm gonna say it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to fail. It's about how you get back up. So right now, I want to encourage y'all. If you not being the best father possible in your kid's life, this is not to beat you down. This is to tell you, I ain't gonna cuss, but this is to tell you to get up, man. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's do we man. If you need some help, call us. Shoot us an
yep.
email.
So I
Man.
was gonna,
Let's do this.
I was gonna say that surround yourself with people with like-minded thinking, man. Find men that like who are solid fathers and surround yourself with them. contact us. Contact a friend in your somebody in your group. Like, man, I need to be better, man. This is my situation with my kid. I want to be a better father. Surround yourself with people. Communicate with other men who are trying to do their best, also, right? And then you could be the ripple effect, right? To help somebody else, and then help somebody else, and then help, right? We want to create this ripple effect there. We helping everybody out in this situation. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, man. But man, I think that's about it, man. I think this was a good topic, good solid topic to
Yeah,
start this
man. For our
podcast off
first
with,
one,
man.
man.
Yeah, man. It's gonna get heated eventually. It's gonna get testy. But man,
Yeah.
it's all about good vibes. All about, man, motivating, mentoring, loving each other, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you picked you picked a topic that we both agree upon. But like I said, man, this Keith and Kevin, man. If y'all know anything about us growing up, man, we didn't stop fighting until our junior year in college.
Trying to tell
Right?
you.
We didn't stop fight like we were the most competitive and we used to butt heads all the time, and we're identical twins. So it's so we just picked a good first topic, that we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
chat
yeah.
about and discuss, man. But I think it's dope, man. I want to see us as men start embracing this fatherhood thing, man. This is about uplifting the generation, man. This is what this whole podcast about. We try to uplift the generation.
Yes, sir. But that's it for us, man. This Two Views podcast. It's your boy Kev G and Keith. Man, we call him E Fizzy. Trying to be proper on here because he's a doctor. E Fizzy 2K. Man, we'll see y'all next time on next episode. Peace.
All right, we holla at y'all.